Hello, everyone, and welcome to Malu's Resilient People podcast. My name is Mara. I'm a writer, a healing therapist, and a life coach who have met hundreds of people with amazing life experience to be shared. Stay tuned and feel empowered with these inspirational stories.
Our guest today is Kari Hilborn. She is a holistic life coach helping highly sensitive people going through difficult spiritual awakening, finding their resilience. Kari has been herself through her own difficult experience and to find herself her own personal enlightenment and spiritual power. Hello everyone and welcome to Resilient People podcast. Today here with me, Kari. Nice to have you here. Kari, could you please present yourself to the people out there?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Kari Hilborn. I'm a holistic life coach, a Reiki practitioner, and I help empaths and highly sensitive souls to find an enlightenment.
And how did you become a holistic coach?
So it was a really interesting journey. It started as a lot of trauma experiences. So I went through, in 2015, I went through stages where all of my ego attachments just started falling away. It started with my mum. She passed away of cancer. And then later, 6 months later, my dad suddenly had heart condition. So he died really suddenly while I was away. And then I think all the trauma that I'd experienced as a child just started coming up. Mm-hmm. And suddenly it was like my body was saying no more. I can't do this anymore. And it was just a shock to the system. Like I suddenly then was unable to walk from room to room. I became so unwell. My body was in constant pain. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And I don't know if you know what it is, but it's
maybe it's good to reflect for the people out there as well, to explain a bit.
It's an invisible illness, so that means that they can't detect with science what's causing it. So I thought this is something spiritual that's happening to me, and I need to look holistically because I was going back to the doctors and I'm like, I can't walk, I'm in so much pain. I was like up, I couldn't sleep because it felt like my body was burning and sobbing. And for anyone who's experienced fibromyalgia, they know what I'm talking about. It is this constant like physical debilitation. You can't function anymore. You get brain fog, you have like stomach problems, it's everything. So physically I couldn't function. And I was a teacher with a master's degree and with aspirations to be supporting vulnerable people. That was my goal.
You were the one vulnerable.
Yeah, and then I suddenly just became so sick and I'm like, okay, so I can't attach this identity
anymore. And how did you manage to cope with all of this?
So at first I fell into victim mode, like most people do. You know, they're suffering and they don't understand why it's happening, and with so many things that happened. So in 1 year I lost both my parents. My brother was section, he was very mentally ill. My physical health deteriorated, I lost my job, and then eventually my marriage broke down. So literally everything in my life fell away, and I was like, okay, so what do? I'm going to have to look within and really work out what is going on.
And how did you manage to change your mindset from the victim to non-victim?
So it was a long journey, yeah. It started with research. I started researching holistic tools and looking at things from like acupuncture to osteopathy to diet, nutrition, yoga, meditation. I looked at gong baths and energy healing, literally everything. I can't name everything right now. It was years of researching, developing these tools, and then building that on the work that I did through my MA. So that was an MA in development, development through theatre.
So it was just like a spiritual awakening.
Yeah, that's what I would call it. I think it's a spiritual awakening. I mean, I don't like to name things because I think when you give a name to something, it takes the truth and the meaning away from it. So I would call it, for me, it was a spiritual awakening. Some people might define it as an existential midlife crisis or whatever terms you use. It was like I no longer could attach to some form of identity. And I was taking so many painkillers. I had a suitcase full of drugs that I would, carry from. I remember I was living in Spain at the time, and I took a suitcase back from England to Spain of medication. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. This, the doctors were saying this is going to cause long-term health problems, and all of the symptoms from the medication was actually, all of the symptoms from the illness was actually the medication as well. So I felt like I was just going around in circles and not really helping myself.
Getting the results that you should be having it.
Yeah. And then one day I decided I'm going to take my power back. And I think it was that there was a mental.
And when does a person get that message? I'm going to take my power back.
That's a good question.
Or I'm going to get to my right path again.
I think it's when you either survive, you either swim, or you sink. You live or you die. It's the lowest you can possibly go. I don't think I could go any lower. I was feeling depressed. I was feeling hopeless. I'm like, what can I do? And then this survival mode kicks in, and you go, right, I'm going to fight. This is the time, And yeah, it was from there that I suddenly started going, okay, this is going to work. And it's a whole mental rewiring, I think. It started for me with the life coaching. So I trained to be a life coach. And I learned about neuroplasticity and hypnosis. And I learned about active listening and empathy and compassion. And all these skills that I learned really gave me a foundation to heal myself. And then after I healed myself, I took more of a spiritual route. So I went to some Reiki, and I trained as a shamanic practitioner. I did some work for years on soul retrieval and dark night of the soul work, shadow work. So really deep going into my traumas and looking not just at this life, but past life healing and really unearthing everything and doing the work.
So can you tell a bit for the people out there which are like overwhelmed as well and going through a dark moment, what's your message for them?
So there are 3 key things that I would say saved me. And I really want people to know that this is not an easy journey. There are moments where you're going to feel like giving up and you can't go on. And there's always strength. There's always strength in you. Just dig a little bit deeper. And the 3 things that I found that really helped was acceptance of everything that's happening. People suffer. It's our human condition. We can't get away from that. And my suffering isn't any worse than somebody else's suffering. We're all in pain. We're all here to do this journey and to do this work. So that's my first thing, acceptance and trust. Try and trust that everything's happening. And then for a reason. And then hope. You have to have hope. You have to have hope that there is something bigger, a higher power that's working with you, through you, in the interconnections that we have with other people, with ourselves. There's something bigger than what we are experiencing with our small ego selves. And when we have hope that that's the case, then there's support from the universe. It just starts to move. And the last thing is what is it? There's one last thing. Gratitude.
Gratitude, of course.
Yeah. Just even sometimes people get stuck in that victim mentality of my life is horrendous and I can't go on. And there's always something to be grateful for, even if it's the clean water that we're drinking or a friend's conversation. Just finding those small moments and really anchoring it in and allowing it to be part of you, then something moves.
I think overall you are an example because you have came from pain to become a life coach and to help people to deal with their own pain as well.
Yeah.
I'm aware that you have many clients at the moment, and for sure you cannot share personal details. But what's the main thing that you use or the main technique you use to help your clients?
Yeah, okay. So it's always personal, it's always bespoke. So it depends on the individual and what they're going through. So I'll do like an initial consultation just to ascertain where they are right now, some of the things that they're going through, tools and techniques they've used before. And then I will use a range of holistic tools. So things like meditation, guided meditation, hypnosis, Reiki, talk therapy. Often people just need to talk and have that space held and feel nurtured and comforted. And then, lots of reframing techniques. So the main science behind reframing is that we can reframe. So 95% of our behaviors are based on the first 7 years of our life. And then we play out those programs. So in order to interrupt it, you can do something called reframing, which is you literally focus on the new vision that you want to have, and you try and dim the light on the old experiences. Or I like to describe it as like two roads. So if you imagine there are like the road of your old behaviors is like very well lit, it's paved, it's a road that's familiar. And it's easy to go down those old familiar paths, but we can reframe. And the new thought processes, so it's neuroplasticity, so we're building these new pathways in our brain. They're like an old dirt track, there's nothing there, there's no pavement, there's no lights, and we have to slowly rewire it. So we have to build that pavement, we have to light the road, we have to take precautions and make those changes, and it takes time and work and practice. And where I think a lot of people fall short, they don't get through to the next stage, is that they have to trust themselves and be patient in that rewiring process, which is hard. At first, it's going to be hard.
So do you think people are not ready to take control of their own life? They prefer someone to be there holding their hands and telling them, go left, go right.
Yeah, I think lots of people do. That's not how I work. I work on trying to inspire autonomy in people because it's lasting them. If somebody's going to be guiding you, what do you do when they're gone? So it's trusting, having someone to inspire you and motivate you and say, this is your journey, you can do it. It's going to be hard at first, get through, that first step. There's that famous quote that I really love, which is, the journey towards 1,000 miles begins with a single step. That's that first step. When you take that first step, then the second step's a little easier, and then the third step. And then before you know it, you've walked up a mountain and you're
without even realizing.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's your advice for people who are trying to reframe their habits again and starting their transformational journey? What do you think they should be doing?
What should they do? So first, seek some guidance. It's hard to do on your own. I tried to do it on my own and it took longer. I think there are so many people, and if you can't access the resources, there are free resources out there. I think one of the paradigms that I used to tell myself in the beginning, because I was financially struggling so much, was I don't have the money to access the help. And then that put up a barrier as well. But on my website, for example, I have lots of free resources that you can access, free quizzes, I've got an ebook on there, I've got guided meditations, all these kind of things. And so many other practitioners do as well. So it's just finding someone who resonates with you, I think, someone who can be an inspiration to lead you back to your light, to lead you back to yourself, and trusting.
So are your main clients dealing with pain, or are they looking for enlightenment at the end of the day?
So I've just reframed everything that I'm doing, and I think that where I can serve the best is helping empaths or highly sensitive people. So people that are naturally quite sensitive to the environment, and then when they go through that spiritual awakening, it's almost like catastrophe, like the world falls apart. So it's trying to learn or to support people, because I'm an empath as well, support people through that process of loving themselves and getting in tune with their power in a way that's really them. It's not me imposing my views on them. It's helping them find their strength.
Okay. Do you think the world is missing empathic people?
Is missing them?
Yeah.
I think we have many gifts. Empathetic people love more. They're always there by your side. They're loyal. and they feel the world, which means that they're creative, they're artists, they're talented in so many ways, but they self-depreciate because they don't see their value. And often they attract narcissists or people that will put them down. And that takes their power away. So showing them how they can find their strength and be aware, be mindful, actually, I'm not a bad person because I'm sensitive to this. I'm just me, and that's okay.
It should be okay, yeah?
Yeah, it should be okay to be you.
And overall, what's your main message for everyone out there?
Just don't give up. There are so many times when life feels like it's beating you down, especially since COVID. I think people are really struggling with everything in this modern day world. It's becoming so consuming. We're being taken more and more away from our natural natures and away from nature. And I would say get into nature. If you have 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day, be in nature, take your shoes and socks off and walk on the earth and just breathe. And it can be that simple. That's where the start is, I think.
Contact with nature.
Yeah.
With the Mother Earth.
Yeah, exactly. Mother Earth is gorgeous.
Thank you very much for your enlightening conversation today. I'm happy for you to tell people where they can find your service. If you can share with them your Instagram account
so Kari Hilborn Coaching is where you can find me. There are lots of free resources on there as well, and I've got links to other people who inspired me, so hopefully they can inspire you. Or karihilborn.com is my website, so you can go over there. I'm sure I can put the links in the comments or somewhere below.
So thank you very much to the guys today for listening to us. I will write all the info from Kari at the bottom of this video, and please feel free to check our website, share our page, and subscribe our links. Thank you. Thank you for being with us today. I'm looking forward to see you in the next episode with another inspiring and powerful story. Follow us on Spotify and check the links below to learn more about us. Stay tuned and see you soon.